You can go to a lot of places and find out what most outlets think is Game of the Year. The answers will be the usual suspects of Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, and Super Mario Wonder, but that would leave out many amazing indie titles, and that's what we're going to do here today. And this will bring us to our nominees for Indie Game of the Year 2023. When Geometric Interactive referred to Cocoon as being inspired by The Legend of Zelda and Portal, it seemed like just another marketing line, as those are two generational experiences, but after placing my final orb, there is no better way to describe it. It's not building upon elements of those games, but it's constantly evoking similar feelings of being lost in an unknown world, solving mysteries, and eventually seeing the world differently than you once did. The premise of Cocoon is rather simple, but it's how the concept evolves is what makes the big difference and what makes the experience special. Oftentimes, the best things in life are the simplest, and Cocoon is a testament to that. Just like The Legend of Zelda, Portal, Limbo, and Inside, Cocoon is an experience that will remain atop of my gaming memory. The biggest issue with Cocoon is that I will never experience this game again for the first time. It's that good. The word epic gets thrown around loosely these days, but very few uses of the term actually earn it. Planet of Lana from Wishfully Studios creates a larger-than-life cinematic odyssey on a planet far off in the galaxy with breathtaking hand-painted visuals that stop me in my tracks on numerous occasions, with images worthy of framing in one of the best puzzle platformers that I've ever played. The grand scale of this odyssey is accented by an amazing orchestral score that has a very 90s John Williams feel to it with a hint of synth. The score was recorded with an orchestra of over 90 people, and when combined with the amazing hand-painted visuals, it creates some unforgettable moments during your journey. I tried to find faults in Planet of Lana, but there is quality across all aspects of the game that honestly shouldn't be present in a debut title from a studio, let alone a very small indie team composed of slightly over a dozen people. Over the past decade or so, only a few indie studios have made such an impact with their debut title. Wishfully Studios have now established themselves as a studio to watch. On the surface, you can see that the visuals have been overhauled. It still retains the 16-bit style, but the visuals are sharper, and this gives the world more depth and personality. But the big change is the new weapon system that allows you to carry 3 different weapons, at least once you find them. This solves one of the major issues from the first game, as using the same weapon and retracing your steps and fighting the same enemies did grow a little repetitive by the end. Even with plenty of returning foes from the first game, this big change to the Blasphemous formula adds variety and freedom to how you approach combat. However, the true genius of the new 3-weapon system is how much it plays an integral part in the traversal and the puzzle solving. Figuring out what tool is needed for what job and switching between them on the fly leads to some diabolical platforming sections. If you love Blasphemous, then you will adore the sequel, and if you've never played the original, Blasphemous 2 is an easier recommendation than the first, despite a few issues that still linger. The changes and refinements, mainly the 3-weapon system, go a long way in keeping the game feeling fresh in both the combat and the exploration, which are core pillars of a good Metroidvania. Add this to the already solid foundation from the first, and Blasphemous 2 is a must-play for any fan of the genre, and in our opinion was easily the best Metroidvania of 2023. When trying to create a hybrid game that blends retro and modern influences, most developers stray too far towards the 2 possible sides of the spectrum. The first is by changing too much, and this ultimately leads to a game that just uses the IP and doesn't actually evoke the same memories as the original. The second is by not changing enough, with a result that feels stuck in the past with limitations and unfortunately surface-deep gameplay. Sabotage Studios are now proven masters of walking this tightrope of generations after The Messenger and now Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars is another shining example of how Sabotage Studios have quickly become masters of making retro feel modern, and one of the best indie studios around with their ability to transcend genres. Story, art, level design, score, sound direction, combat progression, puzzles, exploration, pacing, boss fights, and every other element in this game are done to perfection. Don't miss the boat for Dredge, as very few games can match the pacing and intrigue of this game. There are plenty of fish in the sea and plenty of things to do, including looking for shipwrecks, fishing, trying to upgrade your ship, helping others, plus your imagination that's tugboating at the back of your mind about what is just beyond the horizon. There's never a dull moment because there's also a huge Lovecraftian can of worms mystery that wraps up this whole package. Before you know it, hook, line, and sinker, you have a strange addiction to take just one more pass at the open seas as it drip feeds you clues and hints about this strange and mysterious world. Terra Nil is different, and this would likely explain why Devolver Digital also stepped outside of their comfort zone of offbeat indie gems. The gameplay starts out fairly simple: convert barren wastelands into thriving ecosystems as you start the process by building some wind turbines to power your toxin scrubbers and irrigators. The way the land quickly evolves with the decisions that you make is immensely satisfying and instantly gratifying. With the click of a button, a new river flows across a landscape, or a vibrant wetland now thrives, bringing new wildlife options to your map. With its reverse city builder gameplay to its spa-like score that is accented by waves crashing on the beach you just made and wind rustling through the bamboo trees that you just planted in the abandoned skyscraper, to completing the handbook filled with stunning art, Terra Nil is a breath of fresh air. And our Indie Game of the Year 2023 goes to Sea of Stars. At the beginning of Sea of Stars, the plot was enjoyable, albeit a little formulaic, and served as more of a complement to the gameplay. What made it fresh was that it had plenty of wit and self-aware writing that poked holes at the genre and some of the tropes over the years, in the same way that made the messenger stand out from the crowd. Just like the gameplay in Sea of Stars that constantly evolved throughout, the story blossomed into something that goes far beyond what was expected and became the star of the show that stuck the landing. At the exact moment where most games overstay their welcome, Sea of Stars shifts gears with new locations, new party members, new upgrades, new plot details to unravel, new gameplay, new skills that kept it feeling fresh throughout its 30-hour story that was constantly engaging. Sabotage Studios captured attention with their debut title, The Messenger, and it rose above the pixel art apocalypse that had taken over the industry with its ultra-tight gameplay, fourth wall-breaking writing, and obviously its twist. With Sea of Stars, not only have they now proven not to be a one-hit wonder and stepped into another genre, but without a doubt they have established themselves in elite company with only a handful of other studios as one of the best indie developers in the business today.